Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class we have discussed till Article 16, and from this class we will continue our discussion with Article 17 of the Indian Constitution. So friends, what is Article 17? Article 17 is abolition of untouchability. Okay, so what is Article 17? So friends, Article 17 abolishes untouchability in all the forms. Article 17 abolishes untouchability in all the forms. Now what does it mean? So it means that Article 17 ends, eradicates and prohibits any kind of untouchability present within the territory of India. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that Article 17 ends, eradicates and prohibits any kind of untouchability present within the boundary of India. Now friends, it means that Article 17 prohibits the government and the people from practicing untouchability with other people. So what Article 17 does? Article 17 prohibits government and people from practicing untouchability with other people. Now friends, it is the only article provided in absolute terms, without any condition or exception. Now what does it mean? So friends, for example, Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A is a right to freedom of speech and expression. Okay, means we have the right to speak in public. We have the right to speak, we have the right to express our views. Okay, so according to Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A, we have the right to express our views. Okay, we have the right to give speech, we have the right to speech and expression, we have the right to express our views. But friends, there are certain restrictions or exceptions of Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A. For example, we cannot speak anything which can affect the relation of India with any other foreign country. Okay, so we are prohibited from speaking anything, from giving our views in a manner which can affect the relation of India with any other foreign country. Okay, and for example, we cannot speak anything which can disturb the public order. So it means that there are many exceptions. Okay, or there are many conditions which are related with Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A. Similarly friends, almost every fundamental right has some condition or exception with it. Means it is not guaranteed under these conditions. For example, if by your speech you are trying to disturb the public order, then you cannot speak. Okay, then you cannot speak freely in public. Then police can stop you if your speak can disturb law and order. Okay, so almost every fundamental right has some condition or exception. But friends, Article 17 is the only fundamental right which is absolute in nature. Means there are no conditions and no exceptions of Article 17. Now what does it mean? It means that no person and even the government is not allowed to practice untouchability under any circumstance. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that there are no conditions associated with Article 17. So no person in India, even the government of India, is not allowed to practice untouchability in any condition whatsoever it can be. But government and people are not allowed to practice untouchability. So Article 17 is the only fundamental right which is provided in absolute terms. Now friends, what is untouchability? So till now we have discussed about right to abolition of untouchability. Now question arises that what is untouchability? What is the definition of untouchability? So friends, untouchability is not defined by the constitution and the parliament. Means constitution has not given any definition of untouchability. Similarly, the Parliament of India has not given any definition of untouchability. Okay, so then who defined untouchability? So untouchability is defined by the judiciary of India. So how judiciary defined untouchability? So according to judiciary, untouchability is a social practice among Hindus where a person solely on the basis of his birth in a particular caste is looked down upon and discriminated wrongly. So what judiciary says? So according to the judiciary of India, untouchability is a social practice among Hindus. Means this type of practice is specifically found in Hindu religion. Okay, in other religion it is not found, or it is not that strong. Okay, so it is a social practice which is found among Hindus. So this is specifically found in Hindu religion. Now friends, where a person solely on the basis of his birth in a particular caste is looked down upon and discriminated wrongly. Now what does it mean? So it means that there are certain castes. Okay, for example, I have told you in Hindu religion that we follow caste system. So some castes are known as upper caste and some castes are known as lower caste. And among these lower castes, some castes are declared as untouchable. Now what does it mean? So it means that if a person belongs to some specific caste, and if that caste is untouchable according to the traditions of the society, if that caste is untouchable, so any person who has taken birth in that caste, means any person who has that particular caste, then he is declared as untouchable. Now what is the meaning of untouchable? So it means that now that person will be discriminated wrongly by the entire society. That person will be discriminated wrongly by other persons. For example, people consider that if any untouchable person touches you, okay, if any untouchable person touches you, then you will also become impure. Then you have to perform certain yajnas, or you have to take bath. Okay, for example, if there is a village if there is a well in the village, okay, so if there is a water well in the village, and if any person from any untouchable caste touches that well or uses the water from that well, then that well will become impure. Then the other people from upper caste will not use the water from that well. Why? Because the water will become impure. So untouchability is a practice which is based on purity and impurity. So untouchability means that some particular castes, people belonging to some particular castes, are considered to be impure. Okay, so what is untouchability? So untouchability has a feeling of purity and impurity associated with it. So what is untouchability? So untouchability has a feeling of purity and impurity associated with it. So it is considered that people who belong to untouchable caste, they are impure by birth. Okay, so they have not done anything wrong in their life. They are impure by birth only. Okay, so people consider that nature has made them impure. So if they will touch any other person who belongs to some upper caste, means who is pure, so the person will also become untouchable. Okay, for example, if there is a person called A and there is another person called B. So if person A belongs to upper caste and person B belongs to a untouchable caste, and if the person B touches person A, then person A will also become impure. And that's why these persons are known as untouchable. Now friends, in order to explain you the meaning of untouchability more clearly, I have given two examples. So here on the screen, you can see two pictures. In the first picture, you can see this is a picture of a classroom. Okay, a old type of classroom where teacher is teaching on blackboard and students are sitting on a mat. Now you can see that all the students are sitting on a mat, but there is a girl. Okay, but there is a girl in a green top. Okay, so there is a girl who is sitting away from all the students. Okay, so there is a girl who is sitting away from all the students, and she is not sitting on the mat. She is sitting on the floor. Why? Because that particular girl belonged to a untouchable caste. So if that girl will touch other students from upper caste, then the students from upper caste will also become impure. Okay, so this girl is supposed to sit far from all the students from pure castes or upper caste. Now in the second picture, you can see the second picture also depicts a very good condition of untouchability prevalent in India and typically in villages. So you can see on the picture which is given on right side, picture 2. Okay, so you can see there are 3 persons on right side and there are 2 people on left side. Okay, so the boy with yellow colored hair. Okay, so the boy with yellow colored hair. Now listen to me carefully. The three person standing on right side, they belong to some upper caste. But the two person, one boy and one girl. Okay, the boy who is having a book in his hand and the girl with orange color hair. So that boy and that girl belong to some untouchable caste. Okay, now friends, these three persons who are who belong to upper caste. Okay, so there is a boy and his the color of his hair is yellow. So there is a boy with yellow colored hair. So the boy is trying to not to touch the girl. Why? Because that girl is impure. That girl belongs to some untouchable caste. So if that boy will touch that girl, so he will also become impure. So he is trying his best to not to touch that girl, to go as far as possible from that girl, and he is jumping for that purpose. Okay, and the boy sitting next to him, he is dragging him behind so that he could not touch that girl. So this is the kind of untouchability which is practiced in India. Okay, so if we have to summarize, so we can say that what is untouchability? So untouchability is a practice which is found in Hindu religion. Okay, and what happens in untouchability? That certain castes are declared as untouchable caste, and it is considered that people belonging to these castes are impure by birth. So if these people will touch any object or any person, then that object or person will also become impure. So they are not allowed to touch anything. This is untouchability, and you can imagine the kind of humiliation that the people from untouchable castes had to face. So this is a very, very wrong practice. And Article 17 is a very good article which abolishes this practice from roots, which eradicates this practice. So this was a very bad practice which should be eradicated from roots. Now let's move further. So friends, based on Article 17, inspired by Article 17, Parliament of India passed Untouchability Offences Act 1955. Okay, so inspired by Article 17, Parliament of India passed Untouchability Offences Act 1955. Now, what are the provisions of Untouchability Offences Act 1955? So, this act prescribes for punishment for the practice of untouchability. Now, what does it mean? So, it means that if any person living inside the territory of India or even the government is practicing untouchability with any other person, then the court of law will punish the person who is practicing untouchability. So what this law says is, if any person living inside the territory of India, if he is practicing untouchability, if he is doing untouchable behavior with any person, then that person will be punished. Who will be punished? Who is practicing untouchability. So court of law will give him a good amount of punishment. Now it has been renamed as Civil Rights Protection Act 1976. So what happened, friends? In 1976, Parliament amended this act and Parliament renamed it, and Parliament gave a new name to this act, and now the name of this act is Civil Rights Protection Act. Why? Because Untouchability Offences Act is not that good sounding, okay, and Civil Rights Protection Act is very good sounding, okay. So Parliament amended that act and Parliament renamed it as Civil Rights Protection Act 1976. Now friends, this act is especially given to scheduled castes against untouchability. Why? Because there are certain scheduled castes, okay, there are certain scheduled castes which are declared as untouchable. Okay, so the untouchable castes are particularly, means most of the untouchable castes particularly belong to scheduled caste category. So this type of act, this act give protection especially to the member of scheduled caste community. So this is especially designed for scheduled castes. Now friends, then comes SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. Now it is given to both scheduled castes as well as scheduled tribes. So Untouchability of Offences Act or Civil Rights Protection Act is only given to the members of to the people of scheduled caste. But SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, it gives protection to both scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribes. Why? Because friends, tribes are also discriminated very wrongly in our country. There are many people who discriminate the tribes and who look down on them. Okay, so this act means SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act give protection to both the groups, scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribes. Now, it is not specifically designed for untouchability, but for all kind of offences against them. So, for example, Civil Right Protection Act 1976, it is specifically designed for untouchability. So, if any person will practice untouchability, okay, then he will be punished under Civil Rights Protection Act 1976. But SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act is not especially designed for untouchability. It is designed for any kind of offences which can be done against SC or ST. Okay, so there are other offences also which can be done against the people of SC community and ST community. So friends, now let's move further. So then comes Article 18. So what is Article 18? Article 18 says abolition of titles. Okay, so let's study Article 18 one by one, and I will teach you it in a very detailed manner. So friends, what is Article 18 Clause 1? So Article 18 Clause 1 says no title not being a military or academic distinction shall be conferred by the state. So what Article 18 Clause 1 says? Article 18 Clause 1 says that no title not being a military or academic distinction shall be conferred by the state. Now what does it mean? It means that government is not allowed to give any type of title to any person inside the territory of India. Okay, so the government of India is not allowed to give any title to any person. Okay, now friends, but government is not stopped from giving military and academic distinctions. Means government can give military distinctions as well as academic distinctions. So military distinctions, for example, if our soldiers do some extraordinary work, if work of bravery, then they are awarded with Veer Chakra, okay, or Param Veer Chakra. So military distinctions are allowed. Academic distinctions are allowed. For example, if a person has done PhD, then he is awarded with the distinction of doctorate. So then he can use doctor before his name. For example, Dr. Rahul. Okay, so then he can use doctor before his name. So it means that Government of India can give military distinctions, Government of India can give academic distinctions, but beside military and academic distinctions, government is not allowed to give any kind of title to any person. Okay, so what Article 18 says? Article 18 says that government is not allowed to give any type of title to any person. Okay, but government is allowed to give military and academic distinctions. Now friends, what is title? So for example, Raja Hari Singh. So what is Raja? Raja is a title. So title is something which can be used before or after your name, okay, which enhances the beauty of your name, which puts some weight in your name. Okay, for example, Raja Hari Singh. So what is Raja? Raja is a title. What is Shrimant? Shrimant is a title. So Article 18 says that government is not allowed to give any kind of title to any person. Similarly, no person of India is allowed to use title before or after his name. Means we cannot use title before our name. Okay. For example, we cannot use Raja Rahul or Shrimant Rahul. So we cannot use title. Okay, you can only say Mr. Rahul. So we cannot use title before or after the name. Now friends, what happened that in 1954, Government of India started national awards. Okay, so in 1954, Government of India started national awards, and these awards are also known as Padma Awards. So there were 4 Padma Awards. The first was Padma Shri, second was Padma Bhushan, then Padma Vibhushan, then Bharat Ratna. So there were 4 national awards. So the first is Padma Shri, then Padma Bhushan, then Padma Vibhushan, and then Bharat Ratna. Now friends, these awards were started by the government to recognize the meritorious services provided by an individual to the society. Okay, so why these awards were started? These were started by the government to recognize the meritorious services provided by the individual to the society. Now what does it mean? So it means that if any individual has given extraordinary services to the country or to the people of India. Okay, so if any individual has given some extraordinary services, some meritorious services for the people of India or for our country, then his contribution should be recognized. Then his merit should be recognized. And how it will be recognized? It will be recognized by giving him a national award. For example, friends, we all know that Sachin Tendulkar was a very good cricketer. Okay, and he is regarded as the god of cricket. Okay, so Sachin Tendulkar was a very good cricketer. So he brightened the name of India in the field of cricket. Okay, and due to him, India won many matches in international cricket. Okay, so he gave his extraordinary contribution for his country, and that's why Government of India gave him Bharat Ratna Award. Okay, so these type of awards are given to recognize the extraordinary services provided by an individual to the society. Now friends, moreover, these are regarded as decorations or awards and not as titles. Since the awards are not supposed to be used them as suffix or prefix with the name. Now what does it mean? So it means that these are decorations, these are awards. For example, if you get any trophy, if you get any medal, so they are also just like medals and trophies. So they are awards, they can be used as decorations. But you cannot use these awards as suffix or prefix with your name, means before your name or after your name. For example, we all know that Sachin Tendulkar has Bharat Ratna award, but Sachin Tendulkar cannot use this Bharat Ratna before or after his name. For example, he cannot call himself Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar, or he cannot call himself Sachin Tendulkar Bharat Ratna. So means you are not allowed to use these titles. Sorry, these are not titles, these are awards. So you are not allowed to use these awards with before your after your name. Okay, so these are just awards, these are decorations. For example, if you got any trophy, if you get any medal, so they are awards. Similarly, they are also awards. Now friends, then what happened that in 1996 constitutionality of Padma awards was challenged before Supreme Court in BALAJI Raghavan versus Union of India case. So what happened in 1996 that BALAJI Raghavan versus Union of India case came and it challenged the constitutionality of Padma awards before the Supreme Court. Now friends, actually the decision of BALAJI Raghavan versus Union of India case came on 15th of December 1995. Okay, but in some books you will also find the date of this case as 1996. Okay, but the actual decision came on 15th of December 1995. So please don't get panic over date. Okay, it is not that important. Now friends, so what happened in BALAJI Raghavan versus Union of India case? So in that case, constitutionality of Padma awards was challenged before Supreme Court. So now what it was saying that sir, these Padma awards are unconstitutional. Why? Because in Article 17, in Article 18, it is written that government do not have the power to give any kind of title to any person. And what the government is doing, government is distributing Bharat Ratna, Padam Bhushan, Padam Vibhushan, Padam Shri to the people of India. Okay, so what it was saying that the Padma awards or national awards are unconstitutional. They are violating Article 18 of the Indian Constitution. But now what Supreme Court said? So Supreme Court held that national awards are not violative of the principle of equality, because right to equality does not mandate that merit should not be recognized. Okay, so what Supreme Court said? Supreme Court said that these national awards or Padma awards are constitutional. You cannot say that they are unconstitutional. They are valid. They are good. Okay. Then what court said? That these awards do not violate the right to equality. Why? Actually, what is Article 18? So Article 18 is also grouped under right to equality. So in the second class of fundamental rights, I have told you that the fundamental rights are grouped into 6 categories. Okay, and the first category is fundamental rights related to equality. And which articles come in this category? Article 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So Article 18 also deals with fundamental right related to equality. Why? Because Article 18 is provided so that government cannot differentiate between the citizens. Okay. Now suppose if some citizens are having titles, for example, Raja, Shrimant and so on, and some citizens and some people are not having titles. So this is inequality. But Article 18, by abolishing all the titles, guarantees equality, that no person in India is allowed to use title before or after his name. So Article 18 is also enforcing or also increasing the values of equality in the society. Okay, it is also aimed to establish a society which is based on equality. Why? Because if no person will have title before or after his name, if government is not allowed to distribute titles, then definitely all persons will be equal. There will be no equality. So what Supreme Court said, that the national awards or the Padma awards are not violating Article 18 or right to equality. Why? Because Supreme Court said that right to equality does not mandate that merit should not be recognized. Means right to equality does not say that government should not recognize the merit of any individual. So to explain you this, I will give you one example. Now suppose you are two brothers. Okay, suppose you are two brothers and you are elder one and there is one younger brother also. Okay, so you are elder one. Now your parents have said that if you will score more than 90% in your exam, then we will give you one bike. Okay, otherwise you have to go to school by your bicycle. So what happened, that in your exams you studied very hard, you studied for 12 hours a day and so on. Okay, but your brother is enjoying his life, he is playing, he is playing video games, he is watching movies, and he is not worried about anything. But you are worried that if I will not score more than 90%, then I have to go to school by bicycle and it is not acceptable, so I have to study. So you worked very hard, you studied very hard, and finally you scored 99% marks in your exam. Okay, so how much you scored? You scored 99% marks in your exam. But your brother only scored 50% marks and somehow he managed to pass the exam. Okay, now what your parents will do? Your parents will definitely give you one bike. But will they give bike to your brother also? No, they will not give bike to your brother. Why? Because they will say that you have scored only 50% marks, and if we will give you bike, then you will go anywhere with this bike, and then next time you will score 40% only, so we will not give you bike. Okay, so now you cannot say that this is the violation of the principle of equality. Okay, you cannot say that your parents are discriminating between you and your brother. Okay, so you cannot say that this is inequality. Actually your parents are treating you and your brother equally, but as you have done something meritorious, you have done something extraordinary, you have scored 99% marks, so you deserve that. So in order to recognize your merit, your parents have given you bike, but your brother has only scored 50% marks, so he does not deserve bike. He does not deserve bike. Now your parents are saying to your brother that in next exam, okay, don't worry about this result. In next exam, if you will also score more than 90%, we will give you bike. No problem. We will also give you bike if you will score more than 90% in your next exam. Means your brother can also get bike if he do something extraordinary. So the same is the case with Padma Award. Padma Award or National Award does not discriminate between the citizens. Why? Because any citizen, by doing some extraordinary work for the society, by doing some meritorious work for the society, can achieve a Padma Award. If you will do something extraordinary for the society, then state will not discriminate with you. State will also give you Padma Award or National Award. Okay, so Supreme Court said that right to equality does not say that merit should not be recognized. It is actually a motivation so that other people can also do meritorious work for the society. And that's why these awards are constitutional. And finally, Supreme Court said that these are awards and not titles. Why? Because you cannot use these before or after your name. You cannot use, for example, Sachin Tendulkar has Bharat Ratna, so you cannot say his name like Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, why? Because it is not allowed. It is not a title, it is an award. For example, if you get any medal or trophy, okay, so these awards are also just like medals and trophies. So friends, let's move further. So then comes Article 18 Clause 2. So what Article 18 Clause 2 says? No citizen of India shall accept any title from any foreign state. For example, I think we all are the citizens of India. Okay, so all the people who are watching this lecture, they all are the citizen of India. So you are citizen of India. So you are not allowed to take any kind of title, from any foreign state. For example, you cannot take any title from USA. you cannot take any title from London. Okay, so for example, if the government of Britain want to award you with the title of sir, you cannot take it. Why? Because it is not allowed under Article 18 clause 2. Friends, now let's move to Article 18 clause 3. So what Article 18 clause 3 says? That no person who is not a citizen of India shall, while he holds any office of profit or trust under the state, accept without the consent of President any title from any foreign state. So what Article 18 clause 3 says? So it says that no person who is not a citizen of India shall, while he holds any office of profit or trust under the state, accept without the consent of President any title from any foreign state. Now what does it mean? So friends, in order to explain you this article, I will give you one example. So friends, suppose there is a person and the name of that person is Mr. John. Mr. John is not a citizen of India. Okay, so he is not a citizen of India, he is a foreigner. And if he is holding any office of profit under government. Now what is office of profit? So office of profit means any office of profit means if your appointment and removal is done by the government. Okay, means if you are appointed by the government and government has the power to remove you. Okay, so if you have the if you are appointed by the government and government can also remove you, and you are receiving money for your work. Okay, so you are receiving money for your work, then it is said that you are on a office of profit. So if your removal and appointment is done by the government and you are receiving money for your work, then you are on a office of profit. So now suppose there is a person named as Mr. John, and Mr. John is not a citizen of India, he is a foreigner, and he is holding any office of profit under the government of India. Now friends, in this situation, Mr. John is not allowed to accept any title from any foreign state. Means Mr. John, though he is not a citizen of India, then also he cannot accept any title from America, Britain and any other country. And if he has to accept any title from any foreign country, then first of all he has to take the permission from the President of India. And after taking the permission of the President of India, then only he can accept that title. Okay, so if any foreigner is on any office of profit, if any person who is not a citizen of India, and if he is holding any office of profit under the government, okay, then he cannot accept any title from any foreign country. Okay, and if he has to accept any foreign title from any title from any foreign country, then first of all he has to take the consent of the President of India. Okay, and only after taking consent from the President he can accept that title. Now what is Article 18 clause 4? So Article 18 clause 4 says no person holding any office of profit or trust under the state shall, without the consent of President, accept any present, emolument or office of any kind from or under any foreign state. Now what does it mean? So it is for all the persons, means whether you are a citizen of India or you are not a citizen of India. So any person who is holding any office of profit under the state, means if you are holding, if for example, let's suppose there is a person and name of that person is Rahul. Okay, and Rahul is holding any office of profit under the government of India. Okay, now friends, in this situation Rahul is not allowed to accept any kind of present, means any kind of gift, any kind of emolument or any office of, means any post from any foreign country. Okay, so now if Rahul is holding any office of profit under the government of India, then Rahul is not allowed to accept any gift, any present, any emolument or any post, okay, from any foreign country. For example, he cannot accept any gift from America, he cannot accept any gift from the government of Britain. And if he has to accept that, then first of all he has to take the consent of the President, and only after taking the consent of the President he can accept the gift or any office or any emolument from the foreign state. Okay, so this was Article 18 clause 4. Now friends, let's move further. So then comes Article 19. So what is Article 19? So Article 19 says protection of certain rights freedom of speech, etc. Okay, so what Article 19 says? Article 19 says, so Article 19 deals with the protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech and etc. So let's study Article 19 in detail. So friends, what are the provisions of Article 19? So first of all, we will study about Article 19 Clause 1. So Article 19 Clause 1 says all citizens shall have the right. Okay. Then Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A says to freedom of speech and expression. B says to assemble peaceably without arms. C says to form association or union or cooperative societies. D says to move freely throughout the territory of India. E says to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. And G says to practice any profession or to carry out any occupation, trade or business. Okay. So what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A? So Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A is all citizens shall have the right to freedom of speech and expression. What is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause B? So it is all citizens shall have the right to assemble peaceably without arms. Now what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause C? All citizens shall have the right to form association or union or cooperative societies. Now what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause D? All citizens shall have the right to move freely throughout the territory of India. Similarly, what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause E? So it is all citizens shall have the right to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. And what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause G? So it is all citizens shall have the right to practice any profession or to carry out any occupation, trade or business. So friends, in all we can say that Article 19 Clause 1 guarantees 6 democratic freedoms to the citizens of India. Okay, so Article 19 is also a right which is only guaranteed to the citizens of India. It is not available to the foreigners. So it is only available to Indian citizens. So we can say that Article 19 Clause 1 guarantees 6 democratic freedoms. So you can see there here A, B, C, D, E, G. So there are 6 democratic freedoms which are guaranteed to the citizens of India. Now friends, a question should come to your minds that where is F, because A, B, C, D, E and after that I have included G. So where is F? So F should come between E and G. So friends, F was right to property and now it is no more a fundamental right. So it is deleted. So earlier we have 7 fundamental freedoms, but now we only have 6 democratic freedoms. Now friends, we will study about all these one by one in detail. So first of all, let's pick Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A. So friends, Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A guarantees to all citizens right to freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A guarantees to all citizens right to freedom of speech and expression. Now what does it mean? It means that if you are a citizen of India, then you have the right to express your feelings. You have the right to speak what you are thinking. You have to express, you have the right to express, you have the right to speak what is coming to your mind. For example, if you think that government is not working good, okay, government is not working well, then you can speak in public that government is not working well. If you are not happy with any particular law or policy of the government, then you have the right to share your view with others. You have the right to speak in public that that particular policy of government is not good. I am not happy with that particular law of the government. Okay, so it means that if you are a citizen of India, then you have the right to the freedom of speech and expression. Means whatever is coming to your mind, you can speak. Whatever thing you are thinking, you can express. You can express your feelings. Okay, so what is right to freedom of speech and expression? So it means that what is coming to your mind, you can speak. What you are thinking, you can express. Okay, suppose if you are not happy with any policy of the government, then you can go in public and you can speak in public that I am not happy with this policy of the government. This policy is bad policy. Government should remove this policy. You have the right to speak. Okay. Now friends, Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A is second most interpreted article after Article 21. Okay, so this article is second most interpreted article after Article 21. So what is the meaning of interpretation? Interpretation means when Supreme Court derives some meaning out of the article. Okay, when Supreme Court derives more deep meaning out of a constitutional article. Okay, so now we will study about the interpretation of Article 19 clause 1 subclause A given by the Supreme Court. So friends, Article 21 is the article which is interpreted most by the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so Article 21 has gone most interpretations, and after Article 21, second most interpreted article is Article 19 clause 1 subclause A. So out of Article 19 clause 1 subclause A, Supreme Court of India has derived many deep meanings and has given to the citizens of India other derived fundamental rights. Okay. Now, what is a derived fundamental right? So, derived fundamental right means the right which is not directly and explicitly written in the Constitution. Okay, its meaning is derived out of some pre-existing right. For example, we all know that Article 21 is a fundamental right, and what is Article 21? Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. So, Article 21 is right to life. Now, Supreme Court has derived one more right out of Article 21. Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21. Interpreted means Supreme Court has found more deep meaning of Article 21. And Supreme Court has said that right to sleep is also a fundamental right under Article 21. Why? Because if any person is not allowed to sleep, then definitely this type of life is no life. Okay, better to die when you are not allowed to sleep, because if you will not sleep, then your condition will be very bad. So Supreme Court has said that right to sleep is also a fundamental right under Article 21. So right to sleep is not explicitly written in the Constitution. Right to sleep is a derived fundamental right, which is derived by right to life by the Supreme Court of India. So derived fundamental rights are those rights which are not directly and explicitly written in the Constitution. Okay, so when Supreme Court interprets any fundamental right, so Supreme Court finds more deep meaning of that fundamental right, and out of that deep meaning of that fundamental right, Supreme Court gives more rights to the citizens or the people. Okay, and these are known as derived fundamental rights, means these are derived out of the pre-existing fundamental rights. So Article 19 clause 1 subclause A is the second most interpreted article after 21. Now friends, Supreme Court has said that Article 19 clause 1 subclause A is an inalienable extension of right to life. Now what does it mean? It means that Supreme Court has said that right to the freedom of speech and expression is right to life. Why? Because if you are a living organism, if you are a human being, okay, if you are a human being and if you are not allowed to speak, if you are not allowed to express your views, if you are not allowed to share your views with other human beings, then this type of life is no life. This type of life is worse than the life of animals. Okay, so if state has to provide a healthy life, a human life to the people of the country, then right to freedom of speech and expression must be given. So Supreme Court has said that Article 19 clause 1 subclause A is an inalienable extension to right to life, means right to freedom and of speech and expression is right to life. Okay, so if you are allowed to speak, if you are allowed to express your views, then only you have right to life in correct sense. Now friends, let's study about Article 19 clause 1 subclause A in detail, and let's try to understand its meaning more deeply. So let's try to understand first meaning. Now right to freedom of speech and expression means right to express one's opinion and views freely and openly. Now what does it mean? It means that we the citizens of India have the right to freedom of speech and expression, means we have the right to express our opinion and views freely and openly, means whatever thing we are thinking, we can say it in public. Okay, suppose if we are thinking that some particular policy or the law of government is not good, then without being feared by the government, without the fear of government, we have the right to speak in public place, to speak with the public that this particular policy of the government is not good. Okay, so right to express one's opinion and views freely and openly. Means we can express our opinion, we can express our view on any topic and anything freely and openly. Now friends, so then came Naveen Jindal versus Union of India case. So what happened in Naveen Jindal versus Union of India case? Supreme Court said that that right to the freedom of speech and expression also include right to host national flag. Why? Because by hosting the national flag, a person expresses his feeling toward the country, toward the nation. Okay, so what Supreme Court said? So Supreme Court said in Naveen Jindal versus Union of India case that right to freedom of speech and expression also include right to host national flag. Why? Because by hosting national flag, a person, a individual or a citizen of India, okay, why? Because this right is only provided to citizen. So a citizen of India expresses his feeling toward his nation, toward India. Okay, so state cannot stop any citizen of India from hosting our national flag. So we all have the right to host national flag as a fundamental right. So next time if you host the national flag of India, suppose on 26th of January or 15th of August, and if anyone tries to stop you, then you can file a case against him in the Supreme Court of India. Why? Because by stopping you from hosting the national flag, he is actually stopping you from expressing your feelings. Okay, so he is violating your right to freedom of speech and expression. Then friends, Supreme Court said that right to freedom of speech and expression also includes right to participate in sports. Okay, so right to participate in sport is also right to freedom of speech and expression. Why? Because Supreme Court has said that right to participate so Supreme Court has said that by participating in sport, a person expresses his feeling. So what is sport? So sport is also a way to express your feeling. Okay, and if somebody is stopping you from participating in any sport, from playing any sport, then actually he is stopping you from expressing your feeling. Why? Because what is sport? Sports is also a way to express one's feeling. So right to participate in sports is also a fundamental right under Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A. Now let's study about the third interpretation. Now friends, right to the freedom of speech and expression also includes right to express others' opinion and view freely and openly. Now what does it mean? It means that you not only have the right to express your views and opinions to anyone freely and openly, you also have the right to express the views of somebody other freely and openly. For example, if your friend has said something to you, then you can you can tell other people about the views and opinions of your friend. For example, if your friend is saying that this particular policy of government is very bad, then you can tell other people about the views of your friend. Okay, so right to freedom of expression, freedom of speech and expression does not only mean that you can express your own views. It also means that you can express the views of other person. You can express the opinion of other person freely and openly. And friends, from this emerges the right to free press. Why? Because what press does? Press actually expresses the view of other persons. Okay, so what is the work of press? The work of press is to express the opinion and view of other person and to tell about all the people about the views and opinion of other person. Okay, so that's why in India the press has freedom. Okay, that's why in India we have right to free press. Now friends, what was the fourth interpretation? So the fourth interpretation was freedom of political dissent, means right to differ from the view of government. Now what does it mean? It means that any citizen of India has the right to differ from the view of the government. For example, if government is saying that this particular policy is very good, okay, but you can say, no sir, I am not agree with your policy. No sir, I don't need this policy. Means you can have a different opinion than the opinion of government. Okay, so in India, the citizens of India have the right. Citizens of India have the right to differ from the view of government. You can oppose the view of government. Suppose government has brought any law, okay, and government is saying that this law is very good, this law is very essential for the people of India. But you, as you are a citizen of India and you have the right to freedom of speech and expression. So under your right to freedom of speech and expression, you can say that no sir, I am not agree with your policy, I am not agree with your law. Okay, so we have the right to differ from the view of government, and from this emerged right to multi-party democracy. So what is multi-party democracy? So for example, in India, there are many parties. For example, BJP is a political party, Congress is a political party, Aam Aadmi Party, Communist Party of India. So there are many political parties. Okay, so what is right to multi-party democracy? So what happens in any multi-party democracy? That only one party forms the government. Okay, if it is not an alliance government. Okay, so if it is not an alliance government, then one party forms the government. Okay, so suppose BJP is ruling at the center, BJP has formed the government at the center, then all the other parties, for example Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, Communist Party of India, Samajwadi Party, and all the other parties, what they will do, they will actually oppose the government. They will always differ from the view of the government. They will try to find the fault and shortcomings in the work of government, and they will question the government. Okay, they will inform people about the work of, about the shortcomings in the work of the government. Okay, so from freedom of political dissent emerged the right to multi-party democracy. Means what is the work of other political parties or the political parties in opposition? So the work of opposition political parties is to find fault or shortcomings in the policies and laws made by the government, in the policies and works of the government. Okay, so from this emerged the right to multi-party democracy. Then came the right, friends. Now this right means the right to the freedom of speech and expression is not limited by the boundary of country. Now what does it mean? It means that the citizens of India enjoy it while traveling abroad. For example, you are a citizen of India, so you can speak, you can express your views, you can speak in whatever you want in the territory of India. Now suppose if you go to America, okay, so even in America or on any foreign country, or in any foreign country, you enjoy this right. Means you can speak anything in any foreign country also. Okay, so right to freedom of speech and expression is not limited by the boundary of country. Okay, so citizens enjoy this right while traveling abroad also. Okay, so suppose if you go to America and if you want to speak something, then under article 19 clause 1 subclause A, you can speak anything. Now friends, what happened in Raj Narayan versus State of UP case 1975, that Supreme Court said that right to have access to information is also a fundamental right under right to the speech of freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so in Raj Narayan versus State of UP case 1975, Supreme Court declared that right to have access to information is also a fundamental right, is also a derived fundamental right under right to the freedom of speech and expression. Why? Because without information, expressing oneself towards something is not possible. If you don't have any information about someone, how can you express yourself about him? Okay, for example, if you don't have information about that where the money of PM Cares Fund is used. Okay, so suppose you don't have information about that where the money of PM Care Fund or State's Care Fund is used, then how can you express your views about PM Cares Fund or any Chief Minister's Cares Fund? Okay, so actually it is the duty of the government to inform all the citizens of India about that where the money of Prime Minister Cares Fund is used. Okay, so you all must, I know you all must have remembered that when that pandemic was started, at that point of time, PM Cares Fund was started. Okay, it was a type of contingency fund, an emergency fund. Okay, so it was a kind of emergency fund. So it was made when this pandemic was started. Okay, so actually it is the right of the citizens of India to know that where the money of that fund, means where the money of PM Cares Fund or any state CM Cares Fund is being used. Okay, so we have the right to know that where government has spent that money. So why? Because without having information about the uses of the money, how can we express ourselves toward that fund or toward the government? Okay, so what it says that under article 19 clause 1 subclause A, citizens of India also have the right to have access to the information. Okay, so Indian citizens also have the right to have access to the information. Why? Because if you do not have the information, you cannot express correctly. You cannot express correctly yourself toward anything. Now, friends, then comes the grounds of restrictions. Okay, so I have told you that Article 19 is not an absolute right. Okay, it is a restricted right. You have to follow certain conditions while you are enjoying your right to freedom of speech and expression. So what are the ground of restrictions? So definitely freedom of speech and expression is not an absolute right. Rather, it is a restricted right which can be restricted on following grounds. So what are the grounds of restrictions of Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A? So the first ground is security and sovereignty of India. Now what does it mean? It means that you are not allowed to speak anything which can threat the security and sovereignty of India. For example, suppose if you work in any government department, okay, and you have certain sensitive information, okay, you have any certain sensitive information. If any foreign country gets this information, then they can misuse this information against the interest of India. Okay, so that information is actually a secret information and you are having that information. So you are not allowed to speak about that information, to speak about that secret in public. And actually you are not allowed to speak, to tell about that information to any person. Okay, so your Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A is restricted on the ground of security and sovereignty of India. Okay, so if the security of India is under threat, if the sovereignty of India is under threat, then you cannot speak anything, then you cannot express your views. Okay. The second point is maintenance of friendly relations with foreign countries. Now what does it mean? So it means that you cannot speak anything which can affect the relations of India with any foreign countries. For example, you cannot say anything bad about the America. You cannot say anything bad about the American Parliament. Okay, why? You cannot say anything bad about the American judiciary. Okay, you cannot say anything false about the America. So we are not allowed to speak anything which can affect India's friendly relationship with any other foreign country. Now what is the third point? So third point is maintenance of public order. Now what does it mean? It means that you are not allowed to speak anything which can cause violence. You are not allowed to speak anything which can disturb the public order. For example, if you are giving a speech and you are provoking the people against any community, you are provoking the people against any caste, suppose you are provoking the people against government, then this type of speech is not allowed. Why? Because it can disturb the public order. Okay, so you do not have right to speech and expression if you are trying to disturb public order. You have the right to speak, you have the right to express your views, but you have to keep in mind that by your speech public order should not be disturbed. Then next points are morality and decency. Now what does it mean? It means that while speaking, you should not lose the morality and decency of your speak. Means you should not use the abusive words. You should not use the strong language. Okay, so you should maintain the decency of your speak. Okay, you should be moral while you are speaking. You should not abuse. Okay, you should not use bad words. Okay. Now friends, then comes defamation. Now what is defamation? Defamation means, suppose you are speaking in public, suppose you are a leader and you are speaking in public, and now you cannot impose false charges on any other leader or any other person. Suppose you are speaking in public and you are saying something which is not good for the image of any other person. Okay, for example, suppose there is a person named Rahul. He is a political leader, and there is another person named Tukaram. He is also a political leader. Now Rahul is giving speech to public. Okay, and in his speech Rahul is saying that this person Tukaram is a very bad person. Okay, this person is already married, but then also he is having two extra wives. Okay, so this person is already married, but after being married, this person is having two extra wives. He is a very characterless person. So if Rahul will say this, so definitely Rahul is defaming the image of Tukaram. Okay, so by saying these all things, Rahul is actually defaming the image of Tukaram. So these all things are not very good for the image of Tukaram. These things will exploit the image of Tukaram. So this is defamation. So now on this ground, Tukaram can drag Rahul in the court of law. Okay, so you are not allowed to speak anything which can defame the image of any other person. Now, last thing is contempt of court. Now, what is contempt of court? So, friends, contempt of court is a dedicated chapter. So, when I will teach you contempt of court, then we will study about it in detail. For the time being, you just understand that there are two type of contempt: civil contempt and criminal contempt. Okay, so what happens in contempt of court? For example, if you say something which is not good for the image of judiciary, if you try to defame judiciary, or if you are trying to violate the orders of judiciary. Okay, so in first condition, what happens that if you are saying something which is not good for the image of judiciary, if you are imposing false charges on judiciary, so it is contempt of court. Similarly, if you are not following the orders of court, then this is also contempt of court. So you are not allowed to speak anything which can call contempt of court. Okay, and there are many other things also. So we can summarize that Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A means right to the freedom of speech and expression is not an absolute right. Means it is not guaranteed to us in absolute terms. We have to follow certain conditions while enjoying our right to right to the freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so there are many restrictions, and while enjoying our freedom of speech and expression, we have to keep in mind these restrictions. Okay. So friends, then comes Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause V. So what is Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause V? So Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause V guarantees to all the citizens right to assemble, including right to hold meeting, right to take out procession in peaceful way. Now what does it mean? So it means that being a citizen of India, we all have the right to assemble at a place. Okay, for example, if you are a political leader, then you have the right to call your followers and to assemble at a place. Okay, and to give them a speech. So we all have the right to assemble at a place. We have the right to hold meeting. Okay, suppose you are a political leader, so you can call your followers. Okay, and you can hold a meeting with them. You can tell them about your propagandas. You can tell them anything. Okay. So you have the right to hold meeting. Similarly, we also have the right to take out procession. Okay, but we have to take out procession. We have to conduct meeting. We have to assemble only in peaceful way. For example, if you are taking out any procession, you have to take out without arms. You should not hold arms while you are taking out procession. Okay, you should not hold arms while you are in a meeting. Okay, so we all have the right to assemble, we all have the right to meeting, we have the right to take out procession. Suppose you are not happy with any particular political leader, okay, so you can take out procession against him. Okay, but you can take out procession only in a peaceful way. You should maintain the decency. You should think in mind that the law and order should not be disturbed. And if law and order will get disturbed, then police can arrest you. So this was Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause B. So friends, that's all for today. In the next class, we will continue our discussion with Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause C. Friends, I have uploaded the link of notes in the description of the video, and you can also download the notes from my blog. You can also follow me on Instagram. My user ID is Prashant IAS7. So friends, I hope if you have enjoyed the lecture, so then please like the video, use the comment section to give your valuable feedback, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon, and inform other peoples about this channel so that they can also get benefit out of this course. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.